Hi, my name is Maggie and I'm a Janomes Digitiser Pro MB version 3 user, and one of the questions I see frequently and I'm asked is how can I make Janomes Digitiser Pro hold thread catalog that I've created in my color chart. This is the Janomes color chart and it's got 78 colors, which is not a great many. You right click on a color thumb and it brings up the thread color dialog box. I want to alter this number. I don't want to enter every single color in the thread stash that I have because I know my machine doesn't have them. I just up the value to 100. I come over here to the thread chart side and I use the blue chevron and it brings up a list of all the different threads, and I use Madeira Polyneon. I press that. The left hand side, the top color of the Janomes thread with its code is highlighted. It shows that color here. So I hit match and it says this is the nearest match for that. So I tell that replace. It then moves down a space with the Janomes color code still on it, and it pops a new one in to match up to this one. So I tell it replace, and I do that for all the colors, all 100. All I'm doing is clicking the replace button until I get to the bottom of my list and I'm there. And I tell that OK, and I want you to watch this. And did you see it lengthen? That's the extra colors. And there's my new embroidery thread catalogue. And it's a polyneon catalogue. I'm going to pop it down there. So we've got stage 1. So now we're going to do stage 2. And to do that, we go to Setup. And we want Manage Fabrics. Now, so I'm going to tell that New Custom Pure Cotton. I'll call it YouTube. I'm going to leave my stitch length because it's based on cotton. Stitching, I've found I like the extra length. It does cause a few problems with push-pull distortion, but I like the gloss it gives the thread when it's actually stitched. So I'm going to leave that at 4mm and 0.2 mm long. But I'm going to change my stitch spacing. That's the density. That's going to be 4.3. I normally make my own underlays, but I'm going to change that to weave, and I'm going to alter the stitch length of that to 2.8. Now, it's not an arbitrary number that I've just plucked out of my head. It's actually based on what a very, very experienced digitizer discovered after running a whole series of experiments, and he discovered that one of the best stitch lengths for underlays was 2.8. It minimized the amount of pull that the underlay had on the fabric, which is really good news for push-pull compensation. My stitch spacing for my underlay, I like it around 2 to 2.5 millimeters, and my stretchiness allowance, I like a minimum of 0.3. Wide satin, I like mine not up on 109, 110, but on the 100 mark. And the underlay type, edge run zigzag, yes. Layer 1 is your edge run, layer 2 is your zigzag. And I'm going to alter the stitch length there to 2.8 again, and my stitch spacing to 2.5. My stretchiness allowance, because it is wide satin, I want it 0.4. Now you can actually enter any figure up to 2 millimeters, well, up to 10 millimeters, but that wouldn't be very wise. Okay, I'm just going to tell that okay for the sake of the program. Then I'm going to go back to Setup, and I'm going to choose my fabric, and I'm going to choose YouTube, the new one we just made. Okay, so now I've got my stitch parameters set up, and I've got my thread catalog set up. But I don't want to have to do this every time I create a new design. So what can I do so as I don't have to do that? I go to File, Save As. And I want a JMT. And to find that, I come right to the bottom of the list, Template, JMT. And I click on that, and I call it, before I go any further, this is the normal one that the program uses by default. And that's what you see in your Fabric Manager. And the default settings are a little bit tight. So now I'm going to call this YouTube. Tell that save. Okay, I'm going to close this. Now, keep an eye on this. There are 100 colors in there, not 78. And it shows Madeira Polyneon, Polyester, all the way down. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open File, New, YouTube. Okay, there you go. Madeira Polyneon, Madeira Polyneon, Madeira Polyneon. All Madeira Polyneon colors. So now I have set up my thread catalog for whenever I come in to digitize a design, I simply go to my file and I say new, and it only offers me when I ask for new, not when I use new down here on the taskbar. Object details. There you go. Stitch spacing 4.3, stitch length 4.2. All my colors are Madeira Polyneon. I don't have to faff around in here changing all my stitch parameters. My underlay type, weave, fine. My stitch length 2.8, my stitch spacing 2.5. That's great. And my stretchiness 0.3. Exactly as I set it up. I've set my own defaults and my own thread catalog. And as long as you use your templates when you set them up, and you can set up templates for doing freestanding lace designs. You set your parameters up in your Fabric Manager. You save it as an FSL template and it will always use those settings for you. You set your thread catalogs up and it will always use that thread catalog for you if you use the templates. And that's one way of holding your thread choice. So when you want to do a color chart and you go into print preview, it comes up and it's got Madeira Polyneon, the color code, the color name, and how many meters I'm going to use and how much bobbin thread I'm going to use. And it will list all my colors and it'll give me the correct numbers. And that's it.